Hi, very welcome to this video presentation on our long-term player development model, or LTPD as it's commonly referred to. In this short video, we'll provide a brief insight and overview to certain aspects of the model. Towards the end of the video, I'll direct you to where you can locate a host of resources and booklets that'll explain in further details our vision for this program. We have a small agenda. Number 1, working group. 2, what is long-term player development? 3, stages of LTPD. 4, LTPD volleyball overview. 5, coaches menu. And 6, locating LTPD resources, as I mentioned. So before we begin, I just really want to draw attention and really thank those people that provided their insight and feedback throughout this process. They are listed there on the slide. They were a group of coaches from clubs, national teams, primary and secondary schools, as well as an external sporting body of Coaching Ireland, who all came together and shared their expertise with us. From these interactions, we've designed our long-term player development model that we believe can have an impact here in Ireland on a massive scale. We need to begin by asking, what is LTPD? And what I'll do is I'll read out this definition before elaborating slightly further. So, it's a framework for how volleyball will be developed across Ireland in partnership with our clubs, schools, players, officials, parents, and coaches, ultimately ensuring the support for every child to reach their maximum potential. I'll elaborate on these 3 words at the bottom: provide, support, and guide. So, as Volleyball Ireland, we want to provide a clearly mapped out pathway where any singular child or adult can find their place in volleyball if they wish to. We need to support this model with VI programs, resources, and events. We won't just have maximized the development of players, but we'll have succeeded in delivering healthy and happy individuals. And this will be achieved by extending our usual volleyball programs to include educational projects such as diversity and anti-doping, as well as exchange projects with professional clubs, all hopefully allowing kids to attain valuable life experiences and understandings. Guide. We need to guide our players, our coaches, our parents, our teachers, again, all ensuring that our players reach their potential. Just to reiterate before I go any further, what you're going to see here today will be available in further detail through overview booklets and other resources, again, available on the Volleyball Ireland website. Before moving on, I want to bring your attention to the diagram here on the right-hand side of the slide. From the right, you'll see 2 pathways. There's a development and performance pathway, and there's a development and participation pathway. And really what this is doing is ensuring there's a pathway for everyone to be involved. I'll cover these parallel pathways in a bit more detail in a few minutes. To finish with this slide, I just want to add a simple assertion for you to hold on to. The LTPD plan is player-centered, it's coach-driven, and it's administration-supported. Volleyball Ireland's plan has 8 stages. We can see from the beginning here, active start runs through the fundamentals: learn to train, train to train, learn to compete, train to win, and then active for life kind of oversees that whole graph on the right-hand side there. We begin by running just through a few sentences with you. So active start, this is really a chronological age of 0 to 6 years old, and that is really just a guide. It's all about exploring body movements. This is the stage when the child begins to fall in love with physical activity. In our overview booklet that I keep referring back to, again, we provided further details on durations of play within that stage, as well as guidance on structured play versus child-led play versus free play. And this guidance is widely accepted as globally researched best practice in child development. As we move up, we come to fundamentals, and a guide age there of 6 to 10 years old. The focus here is honing in on those vital fundamental skills. We've compiled an extensive handbook of fun activities that will help provide children with the confidence and ability to perform tasks and ultimately develop a positive attitude to sport. And these activities have been specifically designed with the lead up to volleyball techniques, which will be developed further in stage 3, learn to train. So learn to train, for most of our junior clubs, this is the age group where we see a spike in numbers coming through the doors. It's one of the most important parts of periods of motor development in a child's life. The children are now developmentally ready to acquire sports skills that will be the cornerstone of their athletic abilities. Once again, a structured and resource program is available for our coaches, players, parents, all mapping out week by week and the implementation of skills and focused training methods that can be used for players. Moving on up, we into the train to train stage. This is where we begin to see the development pathway evolve. During competitions, yes, players will play to win. However, the main focus must be on applying skills, tactics, and strategies from training. Now, as I mentioned, it's the beginning of the development pathway. And there are players there that may also not choose to focus on the development pathway. So it's really, really important that we firstly, identify these children and provide them with opportunities to remain involved in other avenues. It could be through refereeing, coaching, volunteering, scorekeeping, etc. As we climb towards the top end of our table there, our graph, those players progressing to the learn to compete will enter a stage of preparing physically, but also mentally for competition. Specialization should begin to occur during this stage. Finally, the latter stages, we start approaching train to compete, train to win. And our structured approach here will mean that our players are ready to perform on an international stage. That's if they've chosen the performance pathway. Finally, you'll see the final piece there, active for life. And as mentioned earlier, we need to start identifying these children and adults that wish to remain part of volleyball for their lives in some form or other. Our LTPD model, it's been designed to provide educational programs as well as recreational opportunities for anyone that wants to participate in a more relaxed and fun capacity. I'll discuss that a little bit further on our next slide. Just to finish on this one, underpinning all these stages you can see in the graph here are support pillars of age-appropriate competitions, quality coach ed, personal development workshops, and other programs all designed with LTPD in mind. So this is the long-term player development model overview, and it's quite a detailed graphic. However, what I'll do is I'll just discuss some areas that I want to address. Firstly, it's really important to realize that each stage has an incredibly important role in the development of children. It's crucial that all goals and objectives from each stage are achieved in order to give the child the best chance at maximizing potential. So these objectives have been identified and arranged for you in further detail, as I mentioned, on our website in resources. So you'll see the stages here: active start, fundamentals, learn to train, learn to compete, train to win, and the volleyball for life or active for life overruns a lot of these stages if you're not involved in the developmental pathway or the performance pathway. As we run down the right-hand side, age, again, a guide only. We have some objectives for each stage. We have some core goals, for example, fun and participation, hugely featured in the early stages. Whereas we move up to the higher end, it's about developing fitness and strength and conditioning. Game formats, helping coaches understand 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, right up to 6v6. Recommended ball usage, recommended nets and court sizes as well. As well, down at the bottom, we can see training volume. And that's across multi-sports early in the stages of the child's development. And also then obviously when they specialize, could be, a complementary sport that they work with. I really want to discuss these two elements, club competition and school competition, with you. So to align with the player's development, we've created a progressive pathway of events, and they have to line up to aid this development. So clubs are going to see in under 13 4v4 volleyball events, and they're really partnering with our goals of developing increased movement and touches for skill progression. Our school events, they've been updated, and perhaps noticeable, and the most noticeable absentee is going to be spike ball. We now have a Funda Volley, which is a 3v3 volleyball specific catching and throwing game. And that concentrates on the development of ABCs, which is your agility, balance, coordination, and speed. Again, this is all in line with the pathway and the goals for that particular stage. Before moving on to the final slide, I just want to draw your attention to what is described as windows of opportunity throughout the LTPD. Again, more detail is available in your resources and in your overview booklet. But if we look quickly at these three stages: physical literacy, development pathway, performance pathway. So the body will respond better at different stages to different styles of training. Within the physical literacy stage I just showed you, research has shown additional exposure to speed and agility drills has proven to increase a child's reaction speed. Therefore, in our coach resources, we've designed activities that are based around that science. However, in the latter stages, so at the train to train, And the focus turns to the optimal windows for muscular development. And as growth spurts become evident in the child, strength training should become more evident, and also flexibility sessions for growing muscles or tendons and ligaments. And like, as I said, that's a very quick overview, but more detail about those windows of opportunity and optimal trainings are available in the overview booklet. So we're coming towards our final few slides, and what I want to draw attention is, back in slide 1, I mentioned that this is coach driven. And so in line with the child's development, we've created a coaching menu of courses. And they'll support and they'll upskill our coaches in check with the globally recognized best practice approach. Earlier today, I heard a quote which really underpins the importance of coaching in our game. The quote was, "Coaches are the caretakers of children's dreams." So it's with this in mind that we develop and we deliver the best courses to create the best coaches that we can. So as you can see from the menu there, we have quite a few like online webinars, we have face-to-face workshops that will be rolled out over the next year and beyond. This is a live menu. So what that means is that it'll be changing all the time, and it'll be up to coaches to request also what they might need throughout the season, and we will be able to facilitate. For example, missing from the slides, there is an exciting new initiative from the Education and Training Commission. Launching in 2021, we're going to be looking at multiple mentoring programs. We'll be establishing beginner, intermediate, and advanced programs, and they're all going to be designed specifically to cater for individual coaching levels within our sport. So before finishing up again, I just want to draw your attention to the website. As mentioned, we have a whole host of resources that you can dig deeper and look more into. If you go to our website, volleyballireland.com, you go into Get Involved, you go down to the bottom, you'll find long-term player development. Clicking on that will bring you to our main page. At the bottom of this main page, you'll see a whole list of links that you can click into: the overview booklet, coach handbook, parent handbook. There's skill cue cards that are visually going to aid our coaches. Not to say this is the only way, but this is to say this is a way to teach the skills. Fundamental resources, full of fun activities at that age group. Same for the Learn to Train resource, Train to Train resources, and some recommended reading for those coaches that want to really dig deeper. Then subsections, we have like fundamentals, learn to train, learn to compete, train to win. I'll just click into the Learn to Train for you. Again, little snapshot of objectives to reach. If you go down to the bottom, there's a training and competition ratio of how your sessions should be structured. And that'll obviously change as you get to more high performance, where the focus becomes more on competition than it does on training. Again, here you'll find a link to the Learn to Train resource, which was also available in the main page. If you have any other questions, you can contact Education and Training at volleyballireland.com, and we'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you for listening, and good luck with your LTPD.